Never have I ever made a video on never have I ever. I'm sorry, that was a bad pun. Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the cartoon hotspot, and today we're back with another video. And if you couldn't already tell, today we're going to review Never Have I Ever Season 3. Those of you who follow my channel know that I mostly talk about cartoons, specifically Miraculous Ladybug and occasionally Winx Club. And yet here I am making a video about the Netflix series Never Have I Ever, because I want to broaden my horizons and talk about other shows from time to time. Never Have I Ever is an American coming-of-age comedy drama television series created by Mindy Kaling and Glenn Fisher that tells the story of Devi Vishwakumar, an Indian-American high school student living in San Fernando Valley who is dealing with her father's sudden death. The show is based on Kaling's experiences growing up in America and has been praised for breaking South Asian stereotypes since its debut. I discovered this series when season 2 was released in the summer of 2021. And after finding the first season a little bit cringe, just a little bit, I quickly fell in love with the show, its characters and their complicated relationships with one another, as well as their complex relationship with themselves as they navigate high school and the messy drama that comes with it, particularly our protagonist, Devi. Season 3 was just released, and yes, I stayed up all night from 12 AM to 4 AM binge watching the entire season, because why not? So to give you a taste of what this video will entail, I will first briefly explain the premise of Never Have I Ever, then recap season 2 before delving deep into specific characters who stood out for me this season, as well as key relationships, and finally why season 3 is arguably the strongest of the 3 seasons so far. No pressure at season 4. So if you're interested, stay tuned, give this video a thumbs up, and turn on post notifications. But without further ado, let's Never Have I Ever it up. Devi Vishwakumar is a 15-year-old Tamil girl who attends Sherman Oaks High School in Los Angeles and is our protagonist of the story. We're quickly introduced to what screenwriters like to call story engine, which is essentially the driving force of the story. We learn that Devi's father, Mohan, dies suddenly of a heart attack during a school concert, causing Devi to later lose sensation in her legs as a result of the psychological and emotional trauma caused by her father's sudden cardiac arrest. She regains her ability to walk months later when she sees her high school crush, Paxton Hall Yoshida. No, I'm not making this up.
Paxton's chiseled face actually worked a miracle.
Devi then makes it her mission after a pretty bad freshman year to change her social status by going from nerdy dork to queen bee. But of course, what is high school without boys, messy relationships, and being bitten by a coyote? Never mind. In a nutshell, we see Devi struggling to find herself and her identity, as well as navigating life and its darker aspects such as dealing with grief and trauma, and her strained relationship with her mother, who is also struggling to raise a teenager after losing her husband. It's implied that Mohan was closer to Devi, as indicated by numerous flashbacks throughout seasons 1 and 2. Mohan was, if you will, the more patient and cooler parent, whereas Nalini has always been tough and strict on Devi, so the two are constantly clashing and butting heads. Following season 1, Devi realizes she has feelings for both Paxton and Ben, and unable to decide who to date, she decides that dating both of them at the same time is the best and smartest idea. Really, Devi? Wait, no, that's kind of Yas Slay. I don't know, she's kind of iconic for that. No, I'm kidding, guys. I do not condone cheating. And for those of you watching, do not cheat on your significant other. For Devi's case, significant others. Emphasis on this. Yep, okay, never mind. Yeah. Anyways, in typical Devi fashion, things didn't go as planned, so the entire second season follows Devi as she attempts to mend her relationships with both Paxton and Ben. We also meet a new character, Anisa, who is also Indian and whom Devi is intimidated by, so much so that she accidentally starts a rumor about Anisa being anorexic, which turns out to be true. Yikes, Devi. Could you get any messier? Pause. I just have to say something real quick. Devi is the messiest protagonist I have ever come across. Every single time she's on my screen, and that's a considerably large amount of time, she always, without a doubt, manages to give me secondhand embarrassment. As in, there was one time I actually had to pause an episode and take a breather. And can we talk about how her mum is probably paid like a shit ton of money for a therapist and Devi doesn't even take the therapist's advice? On the bright side, at least the therapist is chasing the bag. You go, girl.
Major bag alert, major bag alert, bag alert, major.
But that's why Devi is so beloved. The writers aren't afraid to go there. They aren't afraid to make her unlikable in most situations. And everything she does has nuance behind it. It all trails back to her grief and trauma that Devi is not quite ready to confront. Because confronting it means accepting it, and accepting it means letting go.
You're just hurting, and you might even be a little depressed, and that's okay. You had a big loss, and the hurt that comes from that can come out in surprising ways.
Season 2 also gave us more character development for Nalini, which I am so happy about. Nalini is shown to be this headstrong woman, and what I love most about season 2 is that there's a clear message. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to struggle and to not have it all under control. And it's okay to be easy on yourself sometimes and to let other people help you. Devi and Nalini have both kind of been avoiding feeling. In other words, they're distracting themselves with anything to avoid feeling grief, which is why their relationship was very tenuous. But there's growth in discomfort, and the minute both of them accepted that they were a little bit depressed, which is okay, I guess that's when they became closer. Which leads us nicely onto season 3. Season 3 begins with Devi in a newfound relationship with Paxton, which would have made sense mentioning when I recap season 2. Whatever. Yeah, she chose Paxton. Team Paxton for the win. And no, I'm kidding. I don't care about love triangles or romance storylines for that matter. Devi quickly discovers that being in a relationship does not solve all of your problems, particularly internal ones. The school frowns on Devi and Paxton's relationship because Devi is, well, considered uncool, and Paxton is, well, he's Paxton. Devi becomes increasingly insecure about her relationship and questions why Paxton is with someone like her in the first place, revealing Devi's lack of self-esteem. And by the third episode, Paxton is the one who calls her out on it, effectively ending the relationship.
I think you're good enough for me, but I can't keep trying to convince you of that. Look, Devi, I really like you, but I don't think we can have a real relationship until you like yourself.
So Daxton was short-lived. And as much as I hate back and forth relationship drama and I prefer consistency, like after season 2 when she picked Paxton, I was hoping she'd just stick with him, you know. But their breakup was pretty refreshing because it paved the way for other arcs to be explored. The point of their breakup was to demonstrate that a boyfriend or a girlfriend will not fix you. Relationships whereby one person does not love themselves can quickly become draining. Before others can love you, you must first love yourself. Not only Devi, but Paxton has a lot of growing to do this season. So them remaining on healthy terms is great to me and I find it endearing. But this breakup also gave us an insight on where Nalini and Devi stand with each other. Instead of yelling at Devi as she usually would do, Nalini is in fact supportive of Devi and embraces her when she sees she's heartbroken. And I'm glad we saw that because it reminds us that Devi and Nalini did work through the issues last season. Season 3 also gave us the end of Ben Nisa. I think that's their ship name, I really don't care. And honestly, good riddance. This ship did not appeal to me at all. I never liked it. And I know it was intentional, but Ben and Anissa had no chemistry. The ship makes zero sense. Ben had just broken up with Devi and was looking for a rebound relationship with Anissa. But what doesn't make sense is that Anissa was aware of Ben and Devi's romantic tension. And she said so herself. So like, what? I didn't like how this relationship ended either. Yes, two statements can coexist. I hated the relationship, but I hated how it ended. And I don't think Ben had to be a jerk to Anissa. And the sad thing is, he didn't even realize he was. I guess that was done to demonstrate how Anissa will never be Devi. So some of the nonsense that Ben says to Devi because, you know, they're competitive is obviously going to hurt Anissa. Season 3, however, did give us Bye Queen Anissa.
Amazed by you. You were brilliant.
And then Anissa and Fabiola break up like a few episodes later. So like, okay, do the writers not want me to be happy? Like... Oh, side note, I find it so funny how Eve was shown for like 2.5 seconds at the beginning of the episode and then just like disappears to Korea. Like, did we really need to see her? Oh, and then after Anissa and Fabiola break up and Anissa isn't seen at all after that. Like, she disappears as well. It's bad for my sister. Oh, I'm so sorry, Anissa. I love you, girl. Anyways, after a while and getting over her breakup, Devi meets a new guy,
How does it feel to live my dream? Ah! Ah!
Let's be composed, G. Let's be composed. But he's so fine, so fine. But then that relationship ends as well when it's revealed that his mum is just awful. You know what? I was rooting for you. I actually liked that mom. I forgot her name, honestly. I really don't care. But I was rooting for her and Nalini's friendship. And then she just had to like betray me and betray Nalini and betray Devi. Like, does no one want me to be happy watching this show? What? But on a real note, Devi dodged a bullet with that one. Never, ever date a mummy's boy. Like, just trust me on this one. Trust me, I got your back. I got your back, babe. I've seen way too many movies to know it doesn't end well. So yeah, Nadesh, out. And of course we have Trent and Eleanor and Kamala and Manish. I didn't really care too much about either of them, but to be honest, like, yay, love, okay, great. Let's talk about certain characters. In my opinion, Devi was the most chilled this season by Devi standards. I really appreciate the writing choice that was taken when exploring her arc. We've been past Devi making ridiculous and wacky decisions, and we're finally allowing some breathing room for her to learn more about herself, who she is, and who she truly wants to be, as well as what she wants for her future. That's self-love. And while Devi occasionally makes bad decisions, she never goes overboard this season. She's maturing. A common misconception or belief is that self-love cannot be found in a relationship. And that's not correct. That's not true. And while I believe Devi is better off being single, because I just find her more enjoyable when she's like on her own for the time being, her relationship with Nadesh was adorable until his mother had to ruin it. Devi and Nadesh are examples of what I consider casual dating, and that's perfectly fine. I truly believe that that's when Devi began to appreciate herself more, especially after Nadesh tells her that she's super cool and amazing and that he's a little bit intimidated by how strong-willed and badass she is. Devi has always thought of herself as a nerd who plays the harp, is on the debate team and gets straight A's in school. But she's always looked at it like a bad thing, when it isn't, because while some people may not appreciate that aspect of you, I guarantee that someone will. Someone out there appreciates all of your qualities. And what truly completes her seasonal arc is when she's offered the opportunity to attend this prestigious school, implying that she will not be attending Sherman Oaks for her senior year of high school. She visits the school and quickly discovers that there are other people like her who care about school and their grades, people who push her and aren't afraid to be geeks and nerds. And here, Devi has grown as a character. And yes, Devi did decide not to go, but the reason why she didn't want to go is important. Not because of a boy or wanting to still achieve her goal of popularity, but because she's her best self now. Only thing that's left is to spend more time with her mum, because one thing she's learned after losing her dad is that life is too short and she hasn't really appreciated her mum as much as she should have. This season also emphasizes that Devi has finally accepted what has happened to her dad. It's the happiest she's been, and that doesn't make her a bad person for wanting to move on and live her life, because so much has already been taken from her at such a vulnerable age of 15. She can still grieve and be happy, and she's no longer trying to suppress one or the other.
I forgot to be the sad girl who lost her dad.
Davy, what I'm hearing is that you've been happier lately and experiencing less frequent waves of grief. That means you're healing.
Paxton and Ben are two characters I found particularly interesting this season, and it makes sense to discuss both of them at the same time. Paxton experienced major character growth last season, but season 3 saw him continue his journey of independence, self-reliance, and learning that he can push himself if he really wants to. I stan how this is accomplished through an unexpected character interaction. I think it's brilliant when writers put two opposing characters against each other. And it's even more intriguing because it involves two characters from the same love triangle, Ben and Paxton. It allows these characters to grow in unusual circumstances and otherwise show us a different side of themselves. In this case, Ben has literally been pushing himself academically to the point of needing an operation because he hasn't been taking care of his health. At the beginning of the episode Never Have I Ever Had a Breakdown, Ben is approached by the careers counselor that he's taken way too many classes and needs to drop a few, to which elicits a response from Ben that he desperately needs to get into Princeton. Because of this, he's been skipping lunch, staying up too late doing homework, which results in him failing a few classes and ending up in the hospital. To mirror this, Paxton has the opposite problem. He's doing too little, and time is running out for him, and he quickly needs to submit his college essays. And when Ben is in the hallway, clearly in discomfort, Paxton takes him to the hospital, bridal style. Yeah. I did not know I needed Paxton and Ben until I saw it, but I stan. The two of them bond and even admit that they're jealous of one another. Paxton has always been intimidated by Ben because he's so similar to Devi in the sense that he's determined and smart, whilst Ben admits that he tries too hard to make his dad proud, when really all that matters is to make himself proud, which Paxton helps him realize. Towards the end of the season, Paxton chooses to start fresh and attend ASU in Arizona, whilst Ben takes a couple of electives and learns how to express himself more through art. He also gains a few friends, which is so wholesome. Ben has always been the lonely rich kid whose parents never gave him the time of the day and who craves being around people, but never really knows how to go about it. Kamala has also grown a lot this season, learning that it's okay to want to slow down and enjoy your 20s. Season 2 ended with Kamala realizing she doesn't want to marry Prashant, but season 3 digs deeper into that. Prashant acts as a scapegoat, but the real issue is that Kamala is simply just not ready to marry at all. And that's fine. You don't have to force yourself into things because of family or societal pressure. You are the compass of your own life, but fear should not control you. And it's natural to be afraid, but how you deal with those fears and worries is what ultimately leads to growth or stagnation. Kamala learns that she needs to stand up for herself and confront her grandmother, who is upset that Kamala called off her marriage to Prashant. Kamala also moves out and gets her own apartment, but this does not mean she's completely alone and must figure things out on her own. She still has her support system. It just means she's maturing as a person who used to do everything people tell her, but is now making her own decisions. She'll make mistakes along the way, which is perfectly fine and normal, but the people around you will always be there to help and guide you. And that concludes season 3. Season 3 was fantastic and it was well worth the wait. Because of the growth and development of many of these characters, I believe this is the best season yet. Never Have I Ever does an excellent job of weaving in deep and mature themes that many people, whether or not they're in high school, can relate to, whilst also throwing in a few comedic lines here and there. This is the season where I felt a real shift in the show's direction, and I cannot wait for season 4, the final season. If you enjoyed this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you're new. Many thanks to my viewers who continue supporting me and this channel, and special thanks to Harry on a Hook for editing this video. But as for today, that's it from your girl, the Cartoon Hotspot, and I'll see you again next time. Bye!